Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please give us a call if you guys are looking to improve your credit score, lower your car payment, buy a car, trade in a car. If you're looking to purchase your first home, if you're looking to purchase a rental property, we can help you. Give us a call today, 877-205-7771. Talk to you guys soon, and thanks again. Hello everyone, this is CEO and founder of 850 Club Credit Consultation, Calvin Russell. Hope everyone's doing well today. Today we're going to talk about how do you trade in a car lease, okay? If you don't know, or if you haven't seen it in the previous videos, I actually try to create playlists that we guys can kind of stay in particular categories, and this will be in the car buying category. The reason why I bring that up is because a lot of people they're saying, well, how can I even get approved for a lease, or what credit score do I need to get a lease? And you can always just go to that playlist. I did a video on that. So now a lot of times people think that just because you're leasing a vehicle that you cannot trade it in early. You most definitely can trade in a lease early. Let's talk about it. So traditionally, I think that, well, I would say about a good 70 to 80% of the market of the economy of consumers, car buyers, they're going to be going into a typical auto loan where they pick out the car, they get approved for the auto loan financing, and they get the interest rates, all that stuff, and you got a monthly payment till the car's paid off, right? And of course, in Illinois, we do a lot of 5 and 6 year loans. Different states, they let you do a 7-year loan, so it's like 84 months. I know Arizona, that's pretty big for 84-month loans. In Illinois, we can do it, but again, the car has to be a certain age. There's got to be a certain amount of money that you're financing. There's a lot of kind of things that go into it, right? And of course, I sold vehicles where the average price was anywhere between 20 to 30. So you start getting into like Range Rover, Mercedes, and all that type of stuff where it's higher end. I'm sure they're stretching those payments out a little bit longer, right? Just to kind of keep that payment, I guess, wherever. But that's one part. The other part to that is, and the reason why I brought that up is because a lot of people are used to the traditional way. And let me explain that a little bit further, actually, because when you're trading a vehicle, of course, you have equity, right? That means that your vehicle is worth a certain amount, and then, of course, you owe a certain amount. So, for example, if your vehicle is worth $10,000, but you owe $15,000, you have $5,000 of negative equity, also known as being upside down. So you're going to be upside down anytime you have a situation where you owe more on your auto loan than your car is actually worth. Okay. Then of course you have the flip side where your car is worth $15,000, but you owe $10,000. That could easily be a scenario depending on how much money you put down at the beginning, depending on how much you drive it now, depending on how much your payments are, depending on if you refinance the auto loan. There's a lot of different factors that can kind of go into it, right? And so in that case, you have a positive equity of $5,000, which means you're doing in a pretty good position. Then, of course, you trade the car in. So if let's say, for example, you have the negative equity, right? You trade that car in, that negative equity is going to be added on to the next vehicle, okay? The exact same thing with a lease. With a lease, the equity is already pre-calculated in the loan itself. So, for example, if you're doing, let's say, a 2-year lease or a 1-year lease, let's say, for example, your monthly payment is, let's say, $300 a month, right? And that means that I'll give you guys a really good example. Let's say we'll use that same monthly payment. The monthly payment is $300 a month. You're on a 3-year lease, okay? And you've had the car for, let's say, 1 year. So now it's 2 years left on that lease. How much do you have to pay? Because you got to get out of this situation, right? If you want to trade in a lease, how much do you have to pay the lender to get out of that lease? You have to pay them 2 years, which is 24 months, times the amount of payments. So you're not stuck in a sense where you have to go into that. You're probably like, well, Calvin, why would I trade in a lease? I'll give you guys a quick story. I had a client when I was selling cars. I sold him a car. He went into a lease. Everything was fine. All right. He worked not too far from his job versus where he stayed at. But then the job started having him drive from Illinois to Ohio once a week. So that immediately took him the driving miles to a whole completely new different level, right? And so he says, Calvin, this won't make any sense because I'm going to end up being in a penalty. So he says, how can I get out of this situation? And at that time, I didn't know that what you could get out of a lease. So I asked my manager. My manager explained to me how the process works, which is why I'm explaining this to you guys now. So you're never stuck into anything. So we took his monthly payment, we multiplied it by how many payments he had left, and that was his negative equity. Okay. Now, since you can't technically trade in a vehicle, he has to pay that balance off because all the numbers are assumed based on him riding or driving the car until the lease is complete. Does that make sense? So he had to do, and I'll go ahead and grab my phone so I can see what the math is on that. I know some of you math whizzes have already done the math on it. So that'd be, let's say, for example, $300 a month times 24. That comes out to $7,200 that you have to pay in order to get out of that situation. Now, here's the great thing about it. If you go into a new car, can a new car rebate go towards that negative equity? You better believe it. So in that same situation, if you have $7,200 of negative equity, right, and you go into a new vehicle, the new vehicle has, let's say, a $2,000 rebate. Now you're only carrying over $5,200 versus $7,200. Based on your credit score, then you may be able to carry over the entire $5,200. But then again, if you're closer to like $600 or something like that in that range, then you're probably going to put some money down, maybe $1,000, maybe $2,000. The bank wants to see that there's some type of skin in the game. Why is that? Well, when a bank allows you to carry over negative equity, they're essentially saying, hey, the only collateral we have is this vehicle. We know what this vehicle's worth. We know what it's worth when they drive off the lot. Now we got to add this negative equity from this other vehicle that we allowed this person to bring on. That's what that credit score is going to be it's going to be needed, honestly, unless you're going to cover that negative equity, the remaining balance, with your personal money. Okay, so that's how you can trade in a lease contract a little bit earlier than usual. And again, there's always things that you can do. Listen, you're never stuck. You can always call the dealership, call the lender, call the manufacturer. But again, the lender is going to always know because the lender, of course, is the manufacturer on a lease. For those who don't know, anytime you're doing the lease, for the most part that I know of, is going to be with you have to qualify with the automaker. So, for example, you can't do a lease. Based on my experience, you cannot do a lease with a different bank. If you drive a Honda, you're going to be and you decide to lease. Well, I'm sorry. If you're driving a Honda and you have like a Honda lease, 9 times out of 10 you're going to be financing with, of course, the automaker, which would be Honda or whomever that person is or whoever that bank is. Okay. So either way, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Of course, if you like it, like it. If you want to share it, share it. And as of course, always be sure to subscribe as we have a lot more great content on the way. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day.